Hey there, it's Michelle Spiva, and I am coming to you today with day number 17 of the Leader of One Project Preparation Month. And I am going to be talking about something today as we are in the week of concentration, where we're starting to learn how to build concentration. And this is one that I think a lot of people know, but you don't really see the correlation of it with concentration, and that is your mood. Yes, your mood. So today I'm talking about mood fights, and I would be remiss if I didn't actually go to where I have found for myself is the core. And so, for a lot of years, I actually thought my mood was regulated solely, primarily, whatever you want to call it, by my emotions. I really did. I thought moods were all up in here. Waking up, I don't feel like doing anything today. It's raining or whatever. And what I have learned in application as well as education is that your mood is actually a food fight that's happening. Yeah, I've got the research. I should have put the links in here, but research, the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic and some others have done a lot of research, and they have shown that the status of your gut health regulates everything from mood to heart attacks to a lot of different things. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to give myself a good run at building concentration this week, that I took it seriously enough to really look at the known bullies and enemies that would keep me from being concentrated. And the best way for me to articulate to you what I'm doing, being into this day 17 and focusing each day, concentrating, building this muscle, and it's hard. I'm not going to even lie, it's hard. But I had to start doing what I knew to do to regulate my moods. And the way I am doing that, now you can do it differently, but again, this is about my journey. This is about taking you with me and all of that stuff. The way I'm doing that is through my food, through my diet, through my gut health. So that looks like this. That looks like making sure I get good fiber. Some of you may know that I live a lifestyle now where I consume as little sugar as possible and as few refined carbs as possible. I am not no carb. I eat carbs. I eat healthy carbs in my vegetables and some of the fruits and things like that. But for the most part, if it's been fiddled with a lot, they had to do some stuff to make it behave that way, I'm staying away from it. Now, that does not mean that this is indictment that you should do that. It's just for me, based on where my health is and what I've done to my body with food over the years, I can't handle it. And thus, I have experienced some things. So actually, January 2nd of 2017, I just had an about change, and I decided to break my sugar addiction. I had a very bad sugar addiction. I had gotten to the point where I had extreme brain fog, debilitating mood swings, and just a whole bunch of different things, health issues, you name it, apathy, all over the place. And I decided to eat, and I guess the best way to describe this would be keto, to mean that I made my body stop relying on its dependence on straight hits of fructose and sucrose, and I made it start using protein stores and different ways to get its energy that it could convert into the sugars it needed. The result of that was a sustained 80-pound weight loss through this year, thank goodness, and better regulation of mood, and elimination of most brain fog, the scattered thoughts and all that kind of stuff, and being able to concentrate and focus increased. One of the things I did figure out is I was like, I'm feeling so much better. What happened? And I did, like I said, I did some research, watched some documentaries and all of this kind of stuff, and I really started looking at, for me, the culprit was my addiction to sugar. For me, if I deign to pull off the things that I want to pull off with the books that I have to finish up and all the things that are on my schedule, I can't feed my sugar addiction because it directly impacts my moods, my ability to think and process, my emotions, my health, you name it, it does it. And so because of that, I was like, the fact that I know that if I'm going to start working on the skill of increasing my ability to concentrate, I need to make sure that I'm also looking at what I'm putting in my body and my gut health. So I'll just be honest with you guys. One of the things that I'm doing, I'm not saying you have to do this, but one of the things I'm doing to mood fight is I'm giving myself a day, or well, actually a few days, to recuperate from the digestion. And for me, that looks like a fast, a total fast, instead of my normal fast where I go many hours and then I eat, and then many hours and then I eat. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to not only give my body a rest, but I want to have my body be able to cleanse out and do those types of things. Now, this is not to knock anybody who has to have your coffee and sugar and all this kind of stuff to work. That's fine, you do you. I said this was going to be a journey for me, and I was going to bring you along for the journey and let you know what I'm doing and give you information. You can take what you will from it, but this is where I am. And for me, because I recognize that I had gotten to the point where I had become detrimentally addicted to sugar, I can't really play around with it. And when I say I can't play around with it, I know that I can't go completely without sugar forever. So like, for instance, I do have some 90% dark chocolate, and it does have a little sugar in it, but I really watch the grams, and it's moderation. I know that if I eat tomato, if I eat strawberries, blueberries, those types of things, they're going to have some sugar. They're going to have the fructose sugar, actually. I know that. And so because of that, I have to go in moderation. So with that being said, for me to give myself a boost to be able to concentrate, it's funny because less is more. And what that means is less food this week is more. It's been hard, and I know whenever it's time for me to do a total fast, my body acts up so badly. It's like, oh no, and it just lets me know that okay, something is happening. So now let me just talk a little bit more about this gut health thing and your moods and the fights for the moods and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to tell you that based on research, this is not hearsay. This is not what I heard. This is what I have witnessed myself. And research backs me up on this. You can Google it. There are correlations between what you put in your mouth, how your gut, the vagus nerve and all of that, the brain in the gut area, how it interprets it, and then how it affects your brain. For instance, now this one was really something, and that is they are now a lot of people know, that sugar speeds you up, revs you up and all of that. A lot of people even know that sugar can, wreak havoc with some things. But this stuff right here, I didn't realize that was, I was experiencing it. But I remember when I was mainlining sugar, I would eat like pounds, and I'm not even joking. I would eat pounds of candy that was just straight sugar. And when I say candy, I'm talking about, I love the hots, like hot tamales, red hots, and all this other stuff. And I would just mainline it. And I would write, I'm like, oh, I gotta write, and all that kind of stuff. And then I would feel anxious. And then that anxiety would kind of turn into panic. And then the panic would turn into agitation. And I felt like I wanted to come out of my skin. Well, they're showing correlations between sugar and panic and anxiety. They've done some studies where they now want to move them over into human trials, because the hypothesis, I'm really big on hypothesis. The hypothesis is that they could possibly make some kind of effect toward reducing the amount of ADHD, ADHD, and all of those kinds based on regulations of sugars in adults and children. Because when all of this insulin is flooded into the body, when the body trying to deal with all the sugar that keeps coming in, the gut starts sending out microbes. There's this thing called a microbiome in your body that is kind of like bacteria. So we think a lot of times that our moods are because of neurotransmitters being released into the body to deal with something, when it's actually the gut releasing by bacteria that go up into the brain and produce these things and have direct hits on the hippocampus and the amygdala, where the serotonin and all of these other hormones are released. And so when I decided that I was going to get off of the sugar, January 2nd was my first official day of doing that. I tried on the first, it didn't work. The first, I'll tell y'all what I was doing. I had gotten rid of all the sugar candies and stuff in my house, which was hard for me. And my last, I caught myself. It was the 1st, January 1st, and I was sitting there writing, and I had a can of sweetened condensed milk that I was just eating. I had gotten to the point where I wasn't really eating food, I was eating sugar. And most of what I would buy was sugar. There is no reason why I should go through a 10-pound bag of sugar by myself in a month. That was wrong. Just the amount of anything sugary, I wanted it. So I did that. On the 2nd, I was like, that's it. There's nothing else in the house. And I'm going to tell you, the pain I went through of getting off sugar could have been worse, but I thought I was going to have the jitters. I had extreme anxiety and panic and heart, just racing and those types of things. And I'll be honest, on the 2nd, I wasn't that productive. And it was bad, but I knew, I was like, if I'm going through this with just my first day of trying to do better for myself, to live, I need to keep going, because I don't want to ever go through this again. So the next thing I want to say about mood fights, and especially if you are wanting to change yourself and do something, I'm still talking about sugar, y'all. I know. But the next thing I want to say is this. They are now showing that sugar, all this consumption of sugar, increases our desire for things. So it's not just sugar giving you a desire to eat more sugar. Because sugar hits our stream like any kind of drug, it actually said it's even more potent than cocaine. We then have this hedonistic desire to have things. Isn't it funny when you go out and you think of decadence and shopping and all this kind of stuff? I was guilty of it. You go shopping and you got to stop by Godiva and get, a chocolate covered strawberry or 2 or 3. For me, I wasn't really into that. I wanted to hardcore. I was like, give me some turtles. Whenever I was in an area that sold See's candy, gotta go get pounds and pounds of it because I loved it. Still do. Can't go back. And so learning how to recognize those things was something big for me. Now, I didn't even realize that there was research backing me up that when you start to get in better management of your sugar consumption, it can have a direct correlation in your moods. It can have a direct correlation in decreasing the amount of anxiety and panic you experience. It can have a direct correlation in the amount of things you crave, the materialism, the consumption that you want. It's funny that they are saying that the less sugar you eat, the more the more I'm sorry, you guys, I'm trying to think of the word, it was in my mind, but the more satiated you are, the more content, that's what it is. The more content you are with the less amount of sugar. Sugar, it makes you more aggressive and striving, and you want more, and you want to experience more, and you want to have more heightened sensations. And so, it puts you on the hedonistic treadmill. And if you're not familiar with that term, the hedonistic treadmill is a concept that came about to describe our pursuit of things to gain happiness. And what it says is the reason why it is a hedonistic treadmill is because once you acquire something that you want, the next time the hit comes, or when you want to experience that hit, that dopamine serotonin cycle hit, you need more. So whereas a little treat of a strawberry, a chocolate covered strawberry while you're shopping was enough, the next time you want a turtle. The next time you want a box of chocolates. The next time you want 5 pounds of fudge. Yes, I have done that in the past. Don't judge me. And so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, just like drug addiction. When you have it where you used to get away with a bump of something, now you need to be doing it all during the day, and it's fleeting. So when I'm talking about fight the mood, when you're trying to do something, this leader of one, when you want to lead yourself, when I want to lead myself, start looking at patterns, especially now that you're trying to grow in concentration. Look at the patterns. How does your body behave right after you eat, and then an hour, 2 hours, and up to 4 hours after you've eaten something? To me, that was the fastest way for me to personally understand how I needed to fight my moods. So for instance, if I know that I've got to push through and write a little longer, of course, I can't have the sugars. Even with my food intakes and being satiated and wanting to just, I know, give myself time to get over that hump. I'm starting to learn more of the body wisdom. And so when you're talking about doing anything that takes any kind of concentration, I'm going to ask you to fight those moods. And the moods don't necessarily start up here. They can start in your gut, and they start with what you're eating. How does your body behave with sugar? How does your body behave with refined carbs? How does your body behave with meat or dairy or anything? Make note of it, because food is already an emotional trigger for a lot of people, and no two people are the same. What may work for me may not work for you. I'm telling you, for me, mine was the culprit of sugar and refined carbs. Believe it or not, I was not a big bread and pasta person, but I was a hardcore sugar and fructose person. To me, I would eat candy all day, and then I would crave the highest fructose concentrated types of fruit. And I would say, oh, I'm eating my fruit. But yeah, when you eat a pound or 2 of red grapes, followed by 3 bananas and the sweetest, juiciest apples, and that's all you ate, including, not including, besides your sugar, that was not healthy. And so for me, I had to incorporate moderation, and I had to get rid of the hardcore candy and the refined carbs that my body could still rely on to use as sugar because I had depleted my insulin stores and I was very insulin intolerant and my mood was crazy. And so because of that, I am saying, if you're going to do this, not if, but for those of you I'm talking to that are going along with me and you want to build the muscle of concentration, give yourself a fighting chance by making sure that you be willing to fight the moods. And one of the best ways, shortcut ways to do that is to not try to figure out why am I feeling this way, but do something about it by what you're ingesting in your mouth and your gut health. One last little thing I want to say about gut health. For me, I make sure that I do pre and probiotics so that I have good gut flora. You want to have the good bacteria, not the bad. And you want to have the bacteria that is conducive to proper digestion. The bacteria that helps you to not produce so much phlegm and mucus in the body when you eat. And so in order to do that, a lot of people say, oh, get it from your yogurt and stuff. I tend to just get it from, because yogurts have a lot of sugar, so I can't really deal with them unless it's like just a little bit of Greek yogurt. So I tend to do that by eating fibrous foods. I get my omega-3s and a lot of fiber from chia seeds. I make chia seed pudding. I get it from having my inulin fiber, oat fiber, my glucosamine. If I make noodles, I'll use some oat fiber, glucosamine, and mix it up and make my noodles, and that's my good fibers. Also, making sure that I have good veggies, salads, smoothies. You guys have seen me post that kind of stuff. And just making sure that I am making conscious effort to have good gut health. Apple cider vinegar to help with digestion. Raw ginger to help with digestion. Lemon juice to help with digestion. Those are some of the things I do. And thus, that is why I don't have a apprehension of working on creating more ability to concentrate, because at this particular time, with the resources I have and the knowledge I have, I'm doing the best I can every day, determining to do the best I can to give myself a fighting chance to do that. So no, I know that this one went long today, but I really wanted to talk about this because a lot of people, it's really not your fault that you can't concentrate. It's because you might not know that innocently things you are ingesting or the status of your gut is fighting against you to make you have anxiety, panic attacks, scattered thoughts, and all of those types of things. So, mood fights. Look at your diet this week. If you want to, possibly go on a little fast. If you have issues, consult your doctor. Of course, don't do anything. I'm not offering any kind of medical advice here. All I'm simply saying is make sure that you evaluate how your body responds to when you eat and what you eat. Do you have some mood things going on? Okay, so that's what I had today. It's time for me to get back in there and get it going and all that. Thank you so much for everyone. If you want to join the group, link is in the description. If you want to become a sponsor, link is in the description. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. This has been Michelle Spiva talking about my journey with Leader of One, how to self-lead. Day number 17. Talk to you soon. Bye.